All right. I think we're live, AJ.
Man, I hope so, because you're like controlling it, like you're driving the cockpit.
I have the remote. It's like a dude's worst nightmare. I got the remote.
I got a notice that says we're live.
Then I think we're good. Hey,
there we are.
Live. Awesome. Okay, well, you guys get in here and say hi. We got this working because here's the scary thing. Andy's the tech genius here. I just like to talk a lot. Well, here I am in control of all the tech tonight. What happened with this? Hey, Kaylin. Hey, Marcia. We're in that place because they're saying hi and they're jumping in. What's up, guys? We need to do this more often. I like this. The talking part, on camera.
We've been trying to figure this out for about 20 minutes offline. Now we got people. You know what? The thing that you do is like you actually do a really good job of talking to everybody and welcoming everybody. I don't say a darn thing. Like I just start talking.
Oh, man. No, I like it. Mary's in here. Kristen's in here. Crystal and Andrew Watkins. We don't know whether it's Crystal or Andrew. You got to tell us who it is.
My guess is
here too. Yeah. So, dude, we're excited you guys are in here. We're going to go through some different sections of the video. I'll let Andy tell you about that, though, a little bit about what tonight's going to be about.
Yeah, so here's the rule. Here's what we do every single week or month when we're on Oily App teaching these classes live. We generally teach them on the third week of the month. So this month we're teaching Thieves. Last week, if you're in Oily App Plus, or last month, you can get in there. And goodness, man, we taught the healthy hustle. We've taught the emotional wholeness. Next month, you guys have asked about an Essential Oils 101 class. We're actually going to do that, and which is going to be an amazing, it's going to be an incredible opportunity for you to come in here, and you'll get Jim Bob. You'll get his brain to tell you a 101 class. And so here's what we do is we break this thing up into about 3 or 4 videos. Tonight we're going to do 4. Our goal is to go 12 to 15 minutes per video. And then we're going to land the plane. And then we'll just restart right on here. So if you want to rewatch these, review these, it'll be super easy for you to do that. And then plus, for those of you who are Oily App Plus members, when you log in and watch and rewatch these to learn more and kind of watch it, you've got the ebook, you've got the script, everything, the graphics, all of that stuff there. As you want to review, it makes it super easy for you guys to find it and do that by watching what you want to watch instead of watching everything. And so that's what we're going to do. Man, you ready to cue it up? Because
I'm ready. And, the thing is we want this to be easy button for you guys, all of it, from the knowledge to the website to the app to the videos to the book. Our whole thing, that's why it's the books that you'll actually read series, because we want this to be easy button, because we know that your life is busy. We know you're overloaded with a ton of information and more Facebook groups than you could ever actually go check in a day. So we want this one to be super beneficial. So I'm going to pop in this video on here. There we go. Okay. So again, because Andy's the tech genius, you're going to have to see half my screen instead of just the slide, but it's all right. That's all right. We got this.
That's high tech right there.
So I know. Look how good we look.
Man, that's like, okay, so video number 1. Here we go. Let's get started. Where Thieves came from. Now, a lot of you guys have heard a story about the tale of the Four Thieves. When I was studying this and looking into this, here's what I kind of found out, Jim Bob, is it wasn't just the story of the Four Thieves. Now, you remember the bubonic plague back roughly from 1200 to 1700 back over in Europe, and it was really all of Europe. It wasn't just one area. During that 500-year period, if you kind of stretched it either way and landed right in the middle of that, you had about a 50% chance of dying from the plague, the Black Death.
It was not a good time.
We've not seen anything like it. I mean, we've had our things like polio, we've had our things like all these other scares, measles, mumps, stuff that people died of lots of times years ago, but we've never really even seen anything like this. This affected everybody. So everybody here is probably familiar with William Shakespeare. If you are, give us a thumb or a heart, something like that. The Globe Theater, Shakespeare had brothers, sisters, cousins, actors. They're called thespians back then. He had thespians that died. They shut that thing down in London multiple times through about a 10-year stretch there because this Black Death was horrible.
Yeah.
Another thing, everybody here loves TSA, correct? When you go fly somewhere, you like to get involved with, they check you and they pat you down and they put you ever been in the puffer machine?
Yes.
Okay, so TSA,
when it shows up, there's explosives on you, and you're like, "What?" And they put you in
Ninja Red. If you're trying to explain to them why you've got Ninja Red, that's huge. Well, back then they didn't have TSA, but they had something like that where depending on where you were coming from and where you were going to, you had to have papers, and they might just shut you down and not let you go because this illness thing, it was horrible. So this is going on all over the place. A lot of people think of the Black Death because you see these pictures that it was a bite-based infection that attacked the lymphatic system. Now, lymphatic system, I can explain it, but you can probably do it faster.
Sure. Well, the way that I explain it really briefly is that the lymphatic system is kind of like the trash can system of your body. I mean, it helps to move. Yeah, I mean, and it literally pulls all of the junk and the nasty stuff that you're dealing with on a daily basis, pulls it out, but then dumps it off into your digestive tract so that you can pass different things that you're coming in contact with to keep you healthy.
I'm noticing my facial expression right there on the camera when you said trash. Yeah, so that's it. So it really keeps you healthy by getting rid of some of the stuff that shouldn't be in there.
Right.
Just like the disposal or your kitchen sink, that kind of thing. So what was happening is it did attack that initially, but you imagine like your kitchen, if the trash just flows and overflows. I got to say something, Jim Bob. I just thought about this. This is a rabbit that we'd have to shoot down if it was a book. But most guys know that when the trash fills, you take it out. Most women think that if it's adjacent to the trash, it counts as in the trash.
My kids think that too.
That's not the case.
Yeah, my kids believe that.
Imagine if that happens, all of a sudden you got milk cartons sitting on top of the can and all this. You're like, we can't get rid of anything because this thing is overloaded. That happens to your body and all of your lymph nodes. I mean, very quickly, you got trash building up in your body. It just moves to other systems. And so all of a sudden it becomes pneumonic. You'll recognize that word pneuma, wind, breathing, respiratory. You become septicemic. That's just when it gets into your blood system. And it's just, oh man, when your blood gets bad. It just became, so more people, half the people died from plague or plague-related illnesses. Half the people that died, more than half, died not because of the initial cause of the plague itself, but because of the complications of when the immune system goes bad. It's just, man, you got trash. What do you do, right? So
yeah, and it backs up, and once it backs up in the system like that, it's got to go into another system. Just like your plumbing. Once the plumbing backs up, it's going to have to come out the shower or the toilet or the sink or somewhere, and that's how the lymphatic system works.
So this is a great metaphor of what was going on. So during that time, they had this, I think I've got a picture of it right there, Jim Bob, if you'll pull that up. You guys have seen these pictures in history books, and you probably wondered who these guys were. That right there, if you've seen pictures of these guys, they're usually on engravings. This is a plague doctor. I used to think, man, these look like the Undertakers. These look like guys that are kind of not on your side. They were friends. They weren't foes. And here's how they got around is they had this large beak that was kind of this beak nose, and they turned this into a diffuser. And so that was kind of, they were going to inhale through that beak. And then inside that, they stuffed all of these herbs and get this, gauze that was wrapped and then doused with essential oil. So that's coming in what they're breathing. Right. And then, of course, they've got these long flowing robes that look like choir robes or make them look like the Undertaker. They would douse those with essential oils. They had this, it looks like a lantern. That's actually a diffuser. And inside of that, they would have incense that would be burning off, smoking off. So they're literally walking around, breathing essential oils and herbs. They're walking around doused in them, drenched in them. They're walking around with incense, and they're going to serve and to help people. And as a result, they were actually able to, at some point, you got enough trash backed up in your system, you can't do much of anything. But these guys were actually able to travel among the people.
Well, think about it too with that beak type mask that they had, and it was a hands-free setup. Like, if you've seen a lot of people, working with organizations where if they walk in and they're holding a towel like this over their face that has something in it, right? You got one arm to do stuff. The thing I think that's great and is genius about the way that they've set this up back then is it's literally like the actual gas mask that people wear now, where they could be hands-free and do all the stuff. Well, that's what that beak was. It was a ready-made, hands-free, I'm going to go to work mask with the spices and the essential oils and everything packed down in the nose of it so that it didn't affect what they were actually doing, so they could actually be effective.
That's exactly it. Now, there was another interesting story I found out during the same era, too. There was a priest, a cardinal. I'm going to see if I can actually find the quote on this one. His name was Cardinal Wolsey. And I've got a picture that we'll show you in just a second about this guy. He would travel among the dead and dying people administering last rites. That's, you know, high degree of Catholicism there in medieval Europe. And so the cardinal's walking around. I'm going to try to find the quote here. Here it is. This is from 1825. It was the constant caution of Cardinal Wolsey to carry in his hand an orange deprived of its contents. So that means basically they just gutted the orange, filled with a sponge, which had been soaked in vinegar, impregnated with various spices in order to preserve himself from infection when passing through the crowds, which his splendorous office attracted. The short version is, and a lot of other guys that were priests, they started walking around, they would get a gutted orange, they'd tie this around their neck, and this would become kind of this makeshift diffuser. You guys, a lot of you wear diffuser necklaces that are made out of metal with some kind of gauze in there or something that captures the essential oils. These guys were doing this with oranges. And the legend is, and it's not even a legend, it's like history. History says that the priests who would do this were actually able to walk among people and administer last rites. And they were even to pray healing for some of these people. That legit happened. The priests who didn't take the orange and didn't gut it and put the oils, these guys, they got last rites administered to them.
Right.
And so very quickly right there, you've got two stories of real things that are going on. You've got the doctors that are going among the dead and dying. You've got the priests that are going among the dead and dying. And then the third group that you read about in history is the guys that are the Four Thieves. Now, different historical tales will say different numbers. Some people will say there were 40. In fact, Gary Young in his book Aromatherapy, he actually says, founder of Young Living, for some of you who are new into this world, the company Young Living is actually named after Gary Young. Okay, so
right.
Put the math together. He says that he read stories anywhere from 40 to 4. Eventually, there were several of them that were captured in Marseille, France. And the story is that all of the people there were shocked that these guys were able to go rob people who were basically helpless. And yet they never contracted the illness. Now, again, when you're putting off something that's trash, that's could be respiratory, it could be blood-based, it could be bite-based. I mean, it's rampant. It's all over the place. Nobody would go near it except for these guys. Finally, they're caught, and the magistrates say, hey, look, if you tell us what you're doing, we'll let you go. And so this is medieval France. Now, medieval France was noted for beheading their monarchs. So a couple of thieves, like,
they were pretty lenient.
Yeah, they're not gonna. I mean, they're not gonna let them go. And so, I mean, by all means, what they do is they get the secret from them, and they behead them, and then they start sharing that secret with other people. Some people call that concoction the secret of the Four Thieves. Some people call it the Marseille vinegar. Here's the common thing with all of these stories, though, and probably the best way to kind of land the plane on this video is you had doctors, you had priests. It almost sounds like a joke, like the whole setup, like a doctor, a priest, and a rabbi walk into a bar. You got a doctor, you've got a priest, and you've got some bandits. And all three of them in very unique ways. You know, the bandits are putting it on their wrists, they're putting it on the back of their necks, the soles of their feet. They're doing exactly what you guys do with, I've got thieves around here. Well, here's the roll on, right? So I've got some others. I've got, like, make people jealous. I've got most of the Thieves products, like, actually right here off camera. I'll talk a little bit about these later on. But you see this common thread. They're all using the exact same concoction. And as a result, even though everybody else is getting rocked, this is just a historical tale, everybody else is getting rocked by this stuff, these people are actually able to live above the wellness line.
Right.
What do you got to say about that?
Well, I think it's interesting that, and I'm going to switch this back to just the two of us because we're done with that slideshow for now. But the thing that I like, hold on.
Did you show my pictures?
Yeah, I showed them. Yeah. I showed them the orange too. It's awesome.
Nice.
But the thing I love about it, and I love about the history of it, is that it shows them taking an active role in their health, and them actively
Right.
doing something that worked, like, and then being consistent. I mean, like we talk about all the time with using our essential oils, it's about consistency, but it's about actually doing something and actually using the oils that we have. I love that it shows historical reference, because for me, that always, it's like, healing oils of the Bible. It's like going, well, hey, if it was good enough for Jesus, then it's good enough for me. Well, like this,
Right.
these guys knew stuff. It's like your grandma knew things about health and knew things about staying well that we'll never know and we'll never actually be able to refute with science. These guys knew what was going on, but they actively took steps in each of their own ways. Some to actually try to heal, some working from a spiritual sense, and the others that were profiteering and were
Just bandits.
yeah, they were getting rich over the thing. You know what I mean? So, but all of them still needed it. And I think it's key too that we all need to use it, like no matter who we are.
Well, and I mean, and here's the deal: is like I would encourage people, when you go back in history or you go back to anywhere, you grab the steak, you get the meat, chew it up, throw out the bones. People in the Middle Ages did a lot of stupid stuff. They would test you if you're a witch. They'd see if you floated, and if you floated, you're a witch. Well,
Right.
Everybody floats. The other options, you stay down and you drown. So you go, well, man, these people were backwards. Well, in some ways they were. Yet at the same time, you go, man, there's a lot of brilliance there that's just now modern science is catching up with.
Right.
That's part of the tension.
Yeah, exactly. No, I totally agree with that.
Okay, 15 minutes. We're fun.
Awesome. All right, we'll be back on the next one in a second.
Science.
Video 2.
Recycle your page, guys. Back on video.